The trail conditions beyond Silver Camp get pretty sketchy. So I made it across the first little slippery slope here, but nothing guaranteeing that I'll not end up down in the creek there. Today is September 30th, 2018. Being that it is September 30th, I want to send a special birthday shout out to my dad. So happy birthday, George. Today I am driving a portion of the Pacific Coast Highway here, south of the Bay Area along Highway 1. Just checked in at the Big Sur station where they have a visitor center with information on various activities in the area. As usual, my goal is to take on some backpacking while I'm here. So I've narrowed it down to the Silver Peak Wilderness, which is maybe an hour and 15 minutes south of the Big Sur area there at the Salmon Creek trailhead, where there's a couple of options going both northbound and southbound. There's an excellent resource online that gives the most up-to-date trail conditions, as there have been some trail crews working there over the past year or so. The loop that circumnavigates Silver Peak is not really passable at the moment, but a couple of trails that sort of traverse and skirt the ocean side of the range are both open, with a few backcountry campgrounds to choose from as well. So I'll see how the water sources are looking and how the weather is looking and take it from there. I'm prepared to go out for as long as 4 nights here into early October. So we'll see how I go. Up above the 2,000 foot level here on the Buckeye Trail south of Big Sur is where the fall colors are really kicking in here at the tail end of September. At this elevation also, it struck me how much easier it is to sort of notice the curvature of the earth. Normally there's mountains or other terrain that's sort of obscuring that effect, but with a nice flat ocean, it really does look a little curved to me. Today is October 1st, 2018, and I'm here at the Buckeye camp along the Buckeye Trail, having left from the Salmon Creek guard station along the Pacific Coast Highway yesterday. It was a short hike, just about 3.5 miles to get to where I am now. A lot of relatively steep ups and downs, so just as well that it was short mileage, giving the mid-afternoon start for me. The Buckeye camp is certainly well equipped with a picnic table and water that's flowing in early fall here out of a pipe that's apparently coming from a spring. And a couple of enormous old trees, one of which has a number of tent sites established underneath its branches. Today I'll continue westbound, and we'll have my choice of campsites depending on how far I'm able to get before the storm rolls in today. Hoping I can get my tent up before it starts raining, but we'll see how I go. This morning the ocean has a blanket of clouds resting over the top of it, so it's almost like being up in an airplane. I'm not seeing the dark storm clouds that would indicate a oncoming storm in the alpine setting. But then again, this is the first hike I've been on that has such broad ocean views. So forecasting weather is a different ballgame here. At the moment it appears like blue skies and clear, but that's supposedly going to change later on today as I get closer to the junction with a few different trails. After leaving the ocean view, I've come up on the first major junction with the Cruickshank Trail. I would first like to check out the Silver Camp about a mile up and see what the condition of the trail is. According to a very handy online resource that I'll add in the notes below, the trail conditions beyond Silver Camp get pretty sketchy. So I'm interested to see with my very own eyes visually what is so impassable about that. That's the main trail issue that would prevent me from trying to do the loop all the way around Silver Peak. So let's have a look. Made it up to Silver Camp, about a mile above that last junction. Of course, fires are prohibited at the moment, but there is a grill that's included at the campsite, along with a couple of sort of crude benches here perched on top of rocks, and even a water source right down there. I'm not seeing the convenient little pipe coming out of the stream yet, but with a scoop and some patience, one could collect some water out of there. I see a couple puddles up a little bit further there. I'm here on the Cruickshank Trail up above Silver Campground, and I just passed over a tributary of Villa Creek, so you could maybe hear a water source down there. But I've come up on the part that's considered impassable on the Trail Report website. You can see where some erosion has happened here, and beyond that fallen tree is some narrow, perhaps slippery footing there that, if not navigated correctly, would lead to a bit of a slide down the hill there. Not as high a potential consequence as I was facing on the Rogue River Trail last week, but nevertheless, I guess the worst case scenario is that I would end up sliding downhill a little ways and stop above the creek. Still deciding what I want to do next, so we'll see how I go as I try to approach the Lion's Den campsite a little bit east of here. Fortunately, there were some rocks right at the top of the slide that allowed for a nice place to position hiking poles to navigate this little narrow slippery spot here. So I made it across the first little slippery slope here, but there may be more up above here on the Cruickshank Trail. It's probably hard to see this on video, but sure enough, the next section, I'm not really seeing a safe traverse of this. There's no sort of rocks to lean on with hiking poles through this, so nothing guaranteeing that I'll not end up down in the creek there. So not worth it. I'm going to go ahead and double back the way I came, looking for an alternate route to connect up with the Cruickshank Trail up above. I made a slight descent down the creek bed here, part of it dry, part of it flowing, as you can see. And I'm noticing a faint little trail that might be a good way around to connect with the trail that I saw up above, turning around the corner there. From there, I'm pretty confident that I would be able to battle through the sort of overgrown sections of the other parts of the loop if I could just get up and around that red zone that, for good reason, is labeled as impassable. It definitely feels nice being on the other side of this sketchy landslide area going on here. I did find a little side trail that came up right through those leaves there. There was less of a slope, was a little more stable. If too many people walked through that section, it'd probably end up eroding, but maybe there's a way to make that a more of a permanent solution here on the Cruickshank Trail. And I'm on my way again up to the Lion's Den campsite. At this point, the trail is certainly not a beginner's hike, so just know your limits before engaging in this sort of steep cross-country style of alternate route finding. I've made it to the Lion's Den camp, and I'm happy to see that there's some water here. Might not be flowing exactly, but at least it's scoopable. I've seen a variety of animal scat that seems to be most likely cat scat, so maybe there is some lions in the area. I didn't get to have the ocean view last night, so maybe I can score that tonight. Yes. Good stuff. There's even a little bench here, as well as a table of sorts. And the ocean's still blanketed with clouds down there. Curious to see if that storm that was forecast is really going to happen. Today's October 2nd, 2018. I covered about 6 miles or so over the Buckeye Trail and up the Cruickshank Trail, past that washed out part thanks to an alternate route. It was enough work and it was hot enough out that I decided to wrap it up after 6 miles, given the beauty of this Lion's Den campsite. Been really enjoying that over the last half a day or so. The storm that was said to be 70 to 80% chance of dropping some rain here, that hasn't materialized either, so maybe later today it'll roll in. I'm gonna see if I can get up to Silver Peak, the namesake of the Silver Peak Wilderness. On yesterday's high point up and over the ridge and getting here, I noticed a pretty well established trail that I'm guessing probably goes up that way, so today I'm going to backtrack a little bit and see if I can bag a peek while I'm here and see how it goes. The clouds that were smothering the ocean pretty much the whole day yesterday, from what I could tell, have all lifted on this Wednesday morning. Wrap yourself up with gold, the fruits of the old, all ripe to be told, my friend. For it's not what you are, how you've come to be. I managed to battle through some somewhat overgrown trails and make it up here to Silver Peak. And for a first ever coastal range hike, in my case, yeah, really enjoying that ocean view, getting really lucky with the weather again. You can see why this area justifies having its own wilderness designation. On the next Backpacker Diaries. Spotted something on the other side of the ridge that's a little concerning. The storm system that I was waiting for finally caught up with me. There was a wild animal outside my tent at around 2:30. Thanks to some cross-country route finding, sort of bushwhacking, I was able to drop down and reconnect with this trail that's leading north back to Salmon Creek area.